Good morning again, everybody on Facebook. Hello, hello. Welcome once again. We cannot believe it's March. We're excited it's March, but we can't believe it's March. I am Rachel. And then, I should point this way, sorry. The lovely Deb is with me again today. If you've traveled with Northland or done any motor coach trips with Northland Travel, I'm sure you know Deb Harkness. She is here today. She's going to talk to us about a trip she has going in 2021. It's the Albuquerque Hot Air Balloon Festival trip. And this is a popular one. I know every time you do it, you get lots of signups. It's amazing to see. It's going to be a fun one to talk about. So definitely want to listen up. Real quick, I want to show you or tell you about how all this works. We are live on Facebook right now, and we also want to welcome anybody who's watching this on the replay too. If you have questions or comments, want to talk about Albuquerque, you've been there before, we'd love to hear from you about that. So you can just comment in this post, and we'll be able to see those comments or those questions, and Deb would be happy to answer any of those as we go along. Lastly, just kind of while we're getting everybody set and ready to go here, I told Deb I pulled some pictures together from past trips that she's taken to Albuquerque, and I would just love to show them before we get started here. And as Deb, I'm sure will say, the pictures don't even do it justice, but I think they're beautiful, wonderful, but even the pictures don't do it justice. These are some of the things that you would have to look forward to on this trip.
Yeah, these are some, and I'll talk about this. These are some of the folks that went on the hot air balloon ride there. This is Antelope Canyon, Slot Canyon. Again, a place that's remarkable to visit. I'll tell you a little bit about that. There's our group. This is from 2 years ago when we were out there. And there's Grand Canyon. We'll be visiting Grand Canyon on this trip. And I think that's up in Bryce Canyon, if I'm not, yep, there's some Bryce Canyon. We'll also be visiting Bryce Canyon. So there's some pictures from Bryce Canyon. Again, up at the top of Bryce. And this, I think, is coming back up through Utah. And this is out to Glen Canyon Dam, which is just outside of Page, Arizona. This is one of my favorite pictures there.
I know, me too. And this one is a cover photo, I believe, on our Facebook page.
It is. Yep.
The colors.
Bill and Barb. Yep. Good pictures of Bill and Barb that went with us 2 years ago and had a fantastic time. So yeah.
The smiles. And one thing I like about this trip too is there's lots of things to see, but it's a lot about the landscape, about the outdoors. I don't know about you, where you are right now. The birds are chirping here, and it is a good feeling to hear that again. And it just kind of gets you excited for a trip like this.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So without any more waiting, we're just going to take off here, and I am going to turn it on over to Deb. Again, any more questions or any questions that come up, go ahead and ask them. We'd love to converse with you today. So we'll see.
Yeah, you can just, on the right side, you'll see that comments box up there, and you can just type them in there. So
absolutely.
Click that on.
All right, take it away, Deb.
Okay, here we go. All right, folks, again, good morning. It's nice that all of you could join us on this bright, sunny day. The snow is melting outside. It's encouraging. So spring is on its way. Most all of us are getting our COVID vaccines here, and I know Jim and I are in the middle of ours. We've had one, and we will be getting our second one here in about 2 weeks, and so hopefully then we can start on a cautious manner getting out and about again and seeing things and seeing family and all that we've missed so much. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about this Albuquerque Hot Air Balloon Fiesta tour that I will be doing. I planned this tour, and I will be doing it September 30th through October 11th of this year. It's a 12-day trip. It's a trip that I've done for the last several years, and I do it about every other year. Again, it's one that fills up, it's a popular trip, so it fills up fairly fast. And so I'll tell you a little bit more about that towards the end. But right now, I'm just going to take a few minutes and go through the day-by-day happenings that's going to take part as we do this. On day one, we will pick you up from your home pickup point. And again, if you have not traveled with us before, we have 8 different spots that we pick up through Iowa. We pick up in Fort Dodge, Waterloo, Cedar Rapids, Ames, Ankeny, Grinnell, Coralville, and Williams. So whichever one of those is closest to you or most convenient for you, we will pick you up there. And so that day after we get everybody picked up, we're going to head south down towards Joplin, Missouri, which is down in very southwest of Missouri. And it's right on the Oklahoma-Missouri border. And we'll go down there and spend our first night there. We'll be staying at a Drury Inn while we're in Joplin. And if you've traveled with me before, I'm sure you're familiar with Drury's. I try and stay at every Drury that I get a chance to. Not only are they nice hotels, but also they have happy hour every night, a complimentary happy hour every night from 5:30 to 7. Plus, they also have a nice meal there. It's different every night. So it's always nice, and folks really seem to enjoy that once we get to the hotel, then we're there to stay. We don't have to go out for a meal or anything like that. And it's just nice to kick back for the evening and get to know one another. And so it's always a nice breaker for the first night to be able to do a Drury. And then the next morning we get up and we leave Joplin. This is day 2, Friday, October 1st. We leave Joplin and we travel into Oklahoma. And right as we get into the Oklahoma, across the Oklahoma border, we're going to go into Miami, Oklahoma. And that's where we really start the Route 66 trail as we go through Oklahoma. And today is mainly going to be spent as we're traveling southwest. We're going to be taking in the the Route 66 trail as much as we possibly can. And there's a lot of iconic stops along the way. Oklahoma, I always feel, celebrates, has maintained the Route 66 icons more than just about any other state that takes the whole trail. And so our first stop that morning is going to be in Miami at the Coleman Theater. This is a very historic theater. It's very, very neat on the inside. They've restored all the history of it, and over the course of the years, it's just a beautiful, beautiful theater inside and out. And through the course of the years, there's been lots of entertainers, back that have come there and performed. And so it's got a lot of history, and I think you'll enjoy that. We'll leave Miami then, and we will continue our trek on what's known as, of course, the Mother Road, which is the Route 66 trail. Not too much of the Route 66 highway itself still remains. They've kind of put it in with some of the interstates and the 4 lanes and all of that across there, especially across Oklahoma. But they still have kept a lot of the iconic stops. And so we're going to be making some of those stops along the way through the rest of today and into the next day. And so then our second overnight then that night will be in Oklahoma City. And we'll stay there. And then the next morning we get up there and we continue our westward trek. And again, taking in as much of the Route 66 stuff as we can. And we'll be stopping for lunch at Lucille's Roadhouse. And Lucille's Roadhouse is known, this again was a big Route 66 iconic stop. It's known as the mother of the Mother Road. Lucille herself has passed away, but her family has maintained this diner. And it's got all the Route 66 look yet. And they've got some really good food and good milkshakes and all that there. So we'll stop and have lunch there.
As I was looking through pictures the other day, Deb, I did notice there were some fun ones from ice cream. So that must have been it.
Yep, that was it. Yeah, that's a fun place to stop. So anyway, then we leave there, and that afternoon, then we're going to be making some more Route 66 stops. I got a couple surprises in there for you for stops. I, as a rule, if I can, try and put in a couple surprises along the way. I don't like to tell you everything that's going on because then it gives some folks something to look forward to. So anyway, we've got a couple surprises in line for that afternoon. And then we will eventually get into Amarillo, Texas that night. This is the end of day 3. And we'll be staying at another Drury that night in Amarillo. So we'll have all the happy hour and the meal and all that stuff there at that hotel again. Then the next morning, we get up and we leave Amarillo, and we're heading this day now to Albuquerque. And we will get into Albuquerque late afternoon. And as we get into Albuquerque, before we get you checked into your hotel, we're going to take you to the Indian Pueblo Cultural Center. This center is dedicated to the history, the culture, the art of the Pueblo Indian, and you're going to find it very interesting. And during Balloon Fiesta days here, why they have a big open area out in the middle of this center, and they have a lot of native dancers that come out there, and you're able to see a lot of native dancing going on, which is really kind of cool, because each culture has its own, or each little different organization has its own typical native dance. And so you'll get to see all kinds of different dances in their native costumes. So that's a pretty unique thing to see. So then we'll get you checked into our hotel there in Albuquerque, and that'll be our hotel for the next 2 nights. And then the next day, which is day 5, which is a Monday morning, we will get you up bright and early that morning. For 2 mornings now, we're going to be getting you up bright and early, but it's going to be worth it. Trust me, it is going to be worth it. And when we get you up nice and early, and then we're going to take you out to the Balloon Fiesta grounds. And as dawn approaches, we'll have seats in an open air patio to sit and watch the morning ascension of hundreds and hundreds of balloons. It's quite the sight to see. I always like to tell people that these, and people that have been with me can verify for this, I'm sure. This is one of those things that pictures don't do it justice. There's the launching of hundreds of these balloons, and it's just, what you got, the clear blue sky in the backdrop, why it's really, really neat. And we get you out there bright and early before daybreak even. And the reason we like to get you out there so early is that we like for you to see what they refer to as the morning glow, where all these balloon pilots out there, the balloons at that time are still on the ground, but they're inflating them. And as they inflate them, all the beautiful colors come up in these balloons. And it's just really quite the sight to see. It's another one of those super, super cool things. And then as daybreak, once they get the go ahead and the clearance, and then as daybreak happens, why then the balloons start slowly ascending, hundreds of them at a time. And it's just beautiful, 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 beautiful. So then that takes care of most of the morning. And by late morning, then most of the activities, this festival goes on for 10 days out there. So each morning is mainly when all the main things are going on out there. And by afternoon, things have temporarily kind of slowed down for a while. So by late morning, we'll leave the grounds out there. We're going to take you downtown, before we leave that area, we're going to take you over to the Hot Air Balloon Museum, which is right adjacent to the grounds. And we'll take you in there and let you explore around there for a while. And inside there, you will get to see you'll explore the history, the science, the sport, the art of what all goes into ballooning. And it's a real interesting place to visit. Then after we leave there, we're going to take you downtown Albuquerque, and we're going to take you to the Turquoise Museum. As all of you know, Turquoise is the very popular gem down in Southwest United States. And so they've got a beautiful turquoise museum there. It looks like a castle. The outside of the museum is made just like a castle. And it's really unique. And so you'll go in there. We'll have a guided tour there, and you'll learn all about turquoise in every dimension you can think of. And then after we get done there, we'll have lunch there too at the Turquoise Museum. And then after we leave there, we're going to take you down to Old Town, Albuquerque, where you'll get free time for a couple hours to explore Old Town, do some shopping down there. They got some really unique shops down there. And yeah,
some turquoise, right?
yes, yeah, it is. It's neat to see. So we'll give you a couple hours there. And then we will get you, that gets us into late afternoon, early evening, and then we'll get you back to the hotel because I've gotten you up so early this morning. And then tomorrow morning's the same thing. So everybody usually crashes pretty early on this night. And so then that gets us into Tuesday, the second day we're in Albuquerque. And again, this morning, we will get you out to the grounds, again, just like the day before, bright and early before daybreak. And what's unique about this day and what I really look forward to for being able to do for you folks on this day is that this morning, any of you that choose, it's not mandatory. And again, it's totally, totally up to you. If you choose, you will have the opportunity today to take a hot air balloon ride, just like she's showing pictures of here. These folks, Bill and Barb, they were there and they enjoyed it and they loved it. But anyway, what I was going to say, there are some of my balloon riders that took the balloon ride. They thoroughly enjoyed it, but you will get the opportunity to take a balloon ride when you sign up for this trip. Right, if you should sign up for it now, you don't have to make a decision at this time if you're going to do the balloon ride, because the balloon ride is, as far as cost, does cost extra. And at this point, I do not have the pricing yet for that. And it'll probably be late spring, early summer before I do have the pricing for that. So if you choose to sign, if you'd be interested in possibly taking a balloon ride, you don't have to commit, like I said, now at this time. But just when you call Rhonda to sign up for the trip, tell her that when it is available, you would like some information on it. Again, you're not committing at that time, but just that you'd like some information when I do have it as far as the pricing, and then we'll make sure and get that to you at that time. And then you then can decide if you want to do this or not. But all of these folks that did this here in this picture, as you'll see, every one of them said it was worth every penny of it, and they would do it again in a heartbeat. What is so unique about being able to take the balloon ride, number one, is that it's on a lot of people's bucket list. But number two, the first morning we were out there, you'll get to see all of the balloons from the ground level, and you'll get to see them all floating in the air and taking off. And that's just a sight to behold. And then for those of you that would choose to do the balloon ride, the second morning, then you get the view, the perspective of what it looks like from the air when you got all these balloons that are circling around you as well. So it's just a neat thing to do. So I encourage it if you're, not at all shy on, being in the air like that. It's a neat thing to do. So that's always fun. Okay, so then we will again get done late morning out there that morning at the Fiesta grounds. And then that's when we will then, after we get you loaded back up, we then will depart Albuquerque that day after spending 2 full days there in Albuquerque. And we will travel then from Albuquerque to Williams, Arizona. And Williams, Arizona is once again back on the Route 66 trail. And Williams is a very iconic town as far as Route 66. They've got a lot of the old gas station signs that you used to see back in the day and so on and so forth. And it's just a really neat town. And we'll let you spend a couple hours there. You can walk downtown from our hotel and just explore that and do some shopping and have a little fun time. And that night then, when we are in Williams, Arizona, we will be staying at the Grand Canyon Railway Hotel. And that then will lead us into the next morning, which is day 7. And that morning we will, you'll have a nice breakfast there at the hotel, nice big buffet breakfast at the hotel. And then after that, we will board the Grand Canyon Railway train. And we will take the train then. It's about a 3-hour train, as I remember right, 3-hour ride. We will take that from Williams, Arizona, up to the Grand Canyon. And then once we get to the Grand Canyon, it's a nice, peaceful morning ride. It's really a neat, the old-fashioned train. So then once we get up there, then we will get off the train and we will then get on to a Grand Canyon bus, the Grand Canyon motor coach. And we will have an escorted bus tour of the south rim of the canyon. And they make frequent stops where you can get out and, of course, take all kinds of pictures and see all the beautiful canyon down below. So that's a really neat thing to see and do. And then we'll, after we get done with the bus tour, then we come back to the kind of the central part of the park there, and we'll have lunch there also in the park before we leave the Grand Canyon. And so then that afternoon, we'll leave the Grand Canyon and we travel then to Page, Arizona for our overnight lodging there that night. That gets us into day 8. And this morning this is still in Page, Arizona. And this morning we take a guided tour onto the Navajo land into Antelope Slot Canyon. And that, when Rachel was running through those pictures a little bit ago, she had that beautiful picture of that canyon with the real pretty colors. And that was what that is. I always consider Antelope Slot Canyon as one of the many hidden treasures of the Southwest. You hear very, very little about it, but it is so, there it is. There's a picture. We are walking through these rocks, these bottom of these rocks, guided by a Navajo guide. And these are some of the pictures. As you look upward, you'll see the sun coming through and the reflection on the rocks. It's really neat thing to see. So that's a fun thing to do that morning. And then we leave there. We'll come back into Page. And then as we leave Page, we will stop briefly out to the Glen Canyon Dam, where we'll have a beautiful view of the Upper Colorado Basin there in Lake Powell, which is right on the edge of Page. So we leave there and then we travel into Utah, and we will then head towards Bryce Canyon. And then that night, we will be staying at the Bryce Canyon Hotel, which is located just on the outside of Bryce Canyon. And we'll go have a nice meal, and they've got some fun old-time shops there that you can shop in and get you some souvenirs again, of course, if you want. And then the next morning, which is day 9, we will do a driving tour through Bryce Canyon National Park. This park, if you haven't been to Bryce before, is the home of these unique rock formations that they refer to as hoodoos. And they're kind of formation spires with beautiful orange and red and colored rocks. That it's just a cool thing to see. It's different than any of the other state parks that are down there in that area. So I always like taking people there, and we go there early in the morning, not early, but early in the morning when the sun is really reflecting really well, and it's a cool thing to see. After we leave Bryce, then we will then travel on, continuing on towards our journey towards home. And tonight our stay will be in Grand Junction, Colorado. And that leads us into day 10. And that day, we travel across the great state of Colorado through the gorgeous Rocky Mountain Basin. And it is a beautiful, beautiful drive that day. You got the Rockies on both sides of you. And with it being early October when we're there, we even have, in the past couple of years that I've done this, we've had run into just not snowstorms, but minor snow even, and you can see snow up on the mountain peaks, of course. And so it's just a beautiful drive that day. And so then that will get us that night into Ogallala, Nebraska. And then we will stay overnight there. And then the next morning, which is day 11, which is Sunday, we continue our journey again back towards home. And as we get into North Platte, Nebraska, we're going to stop at Bailey Train Yards and tour that. And you'll take an elevator up to the top of the Golden Spike Tower there at the Bailey Train Yards and enjoy a fabulous view. The rail yard itself is the world's largest train yard. It's really unique and it's really cool. It covers a massive 2,850 acres. The entire train yard does. It's huge. and they manage 10,000 railroad cars a day. And when you go up to the top of this, it's like a 7-story tower. And when you go up to the top of this tower, then there's volunteers that are retired employees of the railroad there that can give you firsthand experiences they've had working there, and stories, and you can ask them all kinds of questions. And it's just really an interesting place to stop and see. And then after we leave there, we'll travel on a little further eastward, and we'll get into the Great Platte River Road Archway, where we'll stop along the interstate there, where we'll stop and let you spend a little time there. And then that will get us into Omaha that night, where will be our last night's overnight stay. And so then we'll stay there in Omaha and then get up the next morning, which is day 12, and bring you back to your home starting point. So that just gives you a brief idea of what this trip is. Again, this is one of those I've done the same way, I think the last 2 or 3 times that I've done it. And it's one of those things, again, if it works, don't fix it. And it just, because you got a lot of variety of everything from Route 66 to the balloons to Grand Canyon to just, seeing the Colorado mountains. And another thing that when you're coming up through the Colorado mountains, the Colorado Basin that day, this is October when we're doing this. And the last few years that we've done this, the Colorado aspens are always in full golden color at that time. And they are so, so pretty. God, they're pretty. And so they're fun to see too as you come up through there.
Deb, would you mind looking at the pictures? It just always looks like a gorgeous day. Would you mind just briefly talking about what's the weather like?
Usually that time of year, and I always tell people, people ask all the time, what do I wear? What's the temperature's going to be? I usually tell them to plan to dress in layers, because it gets a little cool at night, because we're talking early October, and we're not talking cold by no means. I mean, we know what cold is. We're from Iowa and Minnesota. We know what cold is. But it will cool down. Once the sun goes down, it does cool down some, and so if you're going to be out in the evening, and also we get you out there when we're doing the actual festival, we go out to the balloon festival. Those mornings, it's before daybreak that we get you out there. So you're going to need, want sweatshirts or light jackets then. So, but no, you don't need to tote along any heavy winter coats or anything like that. Just dress in, sweatshirts and light jackets, and be able to dress in layers, and you'll be fine. So yeah, I would guess the temperatures through the day there is an average that time of year, probably like in the Albuquerque area, or 65 or so. So it's
like perfection.
It is. It's perfect. Yeah, it is. It's perfect. Yeah, you're not too hot and you're not too cold. So okay, with that being said, I'm going to tell you a little bit about pricing for this trip. For pricing for this, it's $27.49 per person, double occupancy. And for single occupancy, it's $36.24. And for 3 or 4 persons traveling together, sharing one hotel room, it's $25.24. So again, $27.49 per person double, $36.24 single, and $25.24 triple or quad. We do still have the early booking discount that's still in effect for this trip, and this will carry through at April 30th. So you got another few weeks here. But if you sign up before April 30th for this trip, you will receive $100 off of this price that I just quoted you. So that's a super good deal. So I definitely stress that you take advantage of that and get signed up early. And the activity level for this trip, I would consider moderately active. There's really no hills to climb at any time or anything like that. It's short distance walking. So if you're able to handle, a couple of blocks, 1 to 2 blocks, pretty easy.
Stepping up into that balloon basket, right?
Exactly. And that's another thing, talking about that. Thanks for bringing that up. As you can see, like from those pictures that Rachel was showing, the balloon basket, if you're interested in that, once you're in that, it kind of, depending on how short or tall you are, but it comes up to you about waist level. But if you're fairly mobile, you don't have, okay, there's the balloon, and scroll back to that other one, Rachel, closer, where you got the close, that one there. So you can see, and this little gal here, Mary, that's standing right up front, that's just about up to her neck. Take into consideration this sweet little gal is maybe 4'11", 5 foot at the most. I mean, she's a short little gal, so you can't tell too much. You can't go by her. But the other folks standing off to her side, well, you can kind of get an idea. It comes up about waist length on the average height person. But it's no big, none of these folks had any trouble getting into the basket itself. And as you can see, it carries about 10 to 12 people at a time. And they work hard at getting your whole group together, you know, as long as there's not too many of you. And then, because my group here all went together in one basket. But they have steps outside of the basket. It's kind of like stair step things, and you can just climb over the basket. There's plenty of help there to help you get in. And then the same way with when you land and you get back out of the basket, they help you back out. So yeah, it's real easy to get in and out of that basket. Get back to where I was. So anyway, yeah, that was where my activity level. So I think just about anybody should be able to handle this trip. If you can walk, again, moderately, you know, a block to 2 blocks, you should be good. This trip does include 18 meals on the whole trip. Breakfast is always provided every morning, and sometimes lunch, and sometimes dinner at night. And then if you're not real familiar with our information sheet here, as you can see, like after day 1, there I've got a D, and after day 2, there's a B in parentheses. What that stands for is obviously day 1, dinner is included. Day 2, breakfast is included. So the B is for breakfast, the L, lunch, and D for dinner. So that just gives you an idea of what days or what meals are included in each day. We also offer travel insurance for this tour, and as we do for all of our tours. And we strongly recommend, you know, that you take the travel insurance. If you're interested in it or have questions on it, call Rhonda in our home office, and she will be more than happy to give you pricing and tell you just all what the insurance includes.
I have another question for you here, quick.
Yep.
So I've got Joan, who's wondering what altitudes you get to.
Altitude is no problem when we go on this trip.
Mm-hmm.
It's I can't give you the exact footages, but if you have,
I wonder if maybe she's talking about the balloon.
Oh, altitude. Yeah. Oh gosh. Maybe. I don't know. I would say maybe 800 to 1,000 feet. If you can go back to and look at some of those pictures that we have shown, you don't go way, way, way high by any means. You know, you stay fairly. I'm not any good at heights, so I mean telling you distance as far as heights. Sure. But you know, you're up there probably maybe 1,000 feet, something like that. But it's not way high at all by no means.
Okay.
You can, you know, I'm sorry, I just can't give you a height, but yeah, it's tolerable. It's fun.
Another question about the balloon ride here is how long is the ride?
Okay. That takes, you're up there actually probably right close to an hour, 45 minutes to an hour, you know, somewhere in there. You take off from the grounds, and then depending on the direction of the wind that day, you land. They've got spots, and they have these balloon pilots have a lot of control of these balloons, you know, as far as how, when they come down at a very slow rate, you know, and I mean, your landing is usually pretty smooth, and you're on the outskirts of Albuquerque when you land. They've got so much barren ground around that area that They find an easy spot. They've got places picked out where they're choosing to land. They have this all figured out ahead of time. And your rescue team, as they call it, will be there. The pilots and the rescue team are in contact, radio contact all the time. So they're right there when you're landing, and they're there to help you make sure it's a smooth landing and get you back out of the basket and everything. So yeah.
Hey, Joan did clarify for us. I may have led you astray. Okay, Grand Canyon altitudes.
Okay. Again, I can't give you as far as heights, but it's not high at all. You're up there. It's the canyon that you're looking down into. There's no thin air or anything like that. It's you're looking down into the canyon. So no, there's never any on this whole trip here. There's never any high altitude issues at all. So okay,
perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Again, that's on everybody's mind, of course, right now with all this COVID stuff is, and we are working with those of us at Northland Travel and our motor coach, which is Aero Stage Lines, are working hand in hand, very close together to provide you with the safest trip possible. This trip doesn't happen until early October. So hopefully by then COVID is in our rearview mirror and we don't hardly ever, want to talk about it again. But needless to say, we are, and this is starting, we got trips starting in May now. We're starting out with short day trips and nearby. We're not going too far. And so we will be starting slowly out with our trips just to get into the routine again and keep everybody safe. So whatever the CDC is still recommending at the time of travel for this particular tour, those will be the recommendations and things that we are asking, as far as for you folks. We will be starting out, when we start our trips out in May, we're going to be starting out on 50% capacity, which means approximately 22 to 25 people. And hopefully as things continue to improve and everybody gets vaccinated and all that, and we all start feeling safe to travel again, hopefully by the time October comes that we'll all feel safe, and we will hopefully be able to slowly and gradually, and we're going to do this at a very gradual basis, but very gradually over the course of the summer, increase our load size. But we do practice social distancing on the bus, which means staggered seating, while we're on the bus for the time being now. And if you've traveled with me before, you know that one of my big things on the buses I like to do is seat rotation on a daily basis. And until further notice, until we get this COVID thing completely past us, I'm not going to be doing any seat rotation just to avoid any cross-contamination that may happen. So that's always a good thing. Our buses are always cleaned every day, every night by our drivers and by ourselves here. They're cleaned every night and disinfected every night to help keep everybody safe. As of right now, if the CDC at that time is still recommending it, we will be asking you to wear face masks. Again, if we're kind of beyond that by October, we may not have to do that, but it's all what the CDC at that time is currently recommending. We always come with plenty of hand sanitizer in your welcome pack. You're going to find that I give you the morning that you board. There'll be a small little hand sanitizer that you can stick in your pocket or throw in your purse. And then we will have the big jugs of hand sanitizer also on the bus that you can keep your little ones filled all the time. So that's good. I think otherwise I've pretty well covered everything as far as this trip.
You bet.
If you have any questions, again, either let us know now or otherwise contact myself or Rhonda. The number.
You know what? I can just put it right up here.
Yeah, she's going to put she's going to roll the number. There's the number that you can contact Rhonda at. in the home office if you have any further questions. Or don't be afraid if you've got my email address. Don't be afraid to email me or call me. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions. If you do not have an information sheet like this one yet and would like one, you can do one of two things. You can either go online on our website, which is northlandtravel.com. And you will be able to go on there, and after you first bring up the web page, you're going to see a little box there. It says group tours. And if you click on that group tours, that will bring you into all of our tours that Northland is doing through the next year. And just scroll down for this particular one to September, because this actually leaves September 30th. So scroll down to September 30th or September, and you're going to see this Albuquerque trip listed. And then I think there's going to be a little box that says view tour or something like that. Click that on, and that will bring you to where you've got this full itinerary just like this, and that you can print off and read in that. If you're not able to do that and get it off of the internet, why, by all means, don't hesitate to call Rhonda or myself, and we will be more than happy to send you this information sheet in the mail. So
and I think one other thing we probably want to mention is this is a popular trip, and this year is not any different. So we recommend, if you are interested, you would probably want to sign up sooner rather than later.
Exactly. And just to give you an idea how people are getting so anxious to get out there and travel, as I stated, I've got trips starting in May, and I do one a month through May, June, July, all the way up through October. And a fair amount, or some of those tours already due to the fact that we're going to 50% capacity, several of these tours are already filled, and we've got a waiting list for them. So my whole point is, if you're going to take part and interested in this trip or any other trip, please don't hesitate to call and get signed up, because you have, on this particular trip, you have until July 30th to make the 100% decision that you want to go. If you're a little leery on going, and you still want to make sure, you're hoping that you're going to go, but just maybe have a few little doubts, call and get signed up, because you'll make your deposit, of course, at the time when you get signed up. But you will have until July 30th in case something should come up and you change your mind. Well, you have until July 30th to cancel penalty free. So
good to know.
Again, we do encourage early signing.
Absolutely. Okay, Deb. Well, thank you so much for talking about Albuquerque today. As a reminder, we do try and do these travel talks twice a month. We don't want to give you cause any surprises. So it's always the first Wednesday, and it's always the third Wednesday of the month. So look for those. Our next one's going to be March 17th, which, by the way, is St. Patrick's Day. So everybody wear your green. And we're going to be talking about the Fall Spectacular in the Southeast, which will mean we'll have our lovely, let's call her our host, lovely host, Deb, back again to talk about that trip. So as always, thank you for joining us. We've enjoyed talking with you today, answering some of those questions. And this is a great trip that Deb is offering this year. And
we're excited.
Hope to see you on the bus, right?
That's right.
All right.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Have a great day.
Bye.